Hello everyone and welcome to English for You. I'm Mike and we are here today to talk about, well, being on time. Now, as you can probably notice, there's usually two of us and we should be starting to teach the lesson now. So someone, and I'm not saying who, is not on time.
Hi, welcome to English for You.
You're here now, that's good. We've done that part. I've already talked about being on time, and it's part of our lesson, and you know how important it is when people are waiting for you to show up, or work has to start.
I'm so sorry. I was just trying to walk across the road, and there's cars and there's traffic.
Right. Yeah.
Bend down to tie my shoe.
I see.
Can I get a do-over? Can we start this all again?
I think we're okay. I mean, you are from Brazil, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Si.
Okay, so in your culture, my friend Pat from Brazil, you're not late.
Oh, that's useful.
See?
Okay,
there you go.
We're not on English time?
No, not on English time.
Great.
Well, I am, but you're not. You're on Rio time.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Let's explain what all that means by looking at our article about being on time.
And you're wearing a watch.
Reading.
Are you late? That depends on where you're from. Are you someone who's always on time? Or do you like to arrive fashionably late? Let's look at the punctuality of different countries around the world. On time. South Korea. In South Korea, being late is considered a sign of disrespect. It's best to be on time for all of your appointments. 5 minutes is equal to 1 hour. Malaysia. In Malaysia, being late is considered normal and acceptable. It's not something you need to apologize for. If someone says they'll be 5 minutes late, it usually means they'll be an hour late. 10 minutes is okay. China. When meeting people in China, you can arrive up to 10 minutes after the agreed time. It's unlikely that you would be accused of being late. 1 minute is not okay. Japan. In Japan, trains must run on time. If they arrive even 1 minute behind schedule, they're considered late. English time, Brazil. In Brazil, English time is the phrase used to stress punctuality. Unless this phrase is used, being on time is not so important.
So our article begins by asking, are you someone who's always on time, or do you like to arrive fashionably late?
Fashionably late. I like that term. It's a good term. And it's also a good way to excuse when you make a mistake and show up late. Well, as the article says, let's look at the punctuality of different countries around the world. Because, this idea of punctuality, or being on time, is kind of different around the world. Punctuality, as we said, is the noun. If you are being punctual, you are being an on-time type of person, all right? Punctuality is just being on time. So if someone says, hey, be punctual, or punctuality is important in this job, that means be on time, or being on time is important for this job. And for many jobs, it is, right? Punctuality can be important.
Very important, but depending on where in the world you are, the people, the culture, the kind of
the ideas about it,
feel of the country. Some countries will mean if I say 5 in the morning, I mean 5.
Right.
In other countries, it could be 5:30 is okay, or 10 past 5.
Sure.
It really does depend. So let's look at some examples. So we're going to start with on time in South Korea. The article says, in South Korea, being late is considered a sign of disrespect.
Wow.
So
that's pretty serious.
Yeah, you've got to show up on time. If you say, I'll meet you at 7, you be there at 7.
So you could say in Korea, punctuality is important.
Exactly. And if you're late, you're considered to be disrespectful. We use this word consider when people are regarding something. It's talking about how they think of it, how they perceive it, how they see it. It's just talking about the general opinion, either in that area or of all people, about this is what they think, okay? For example, Paris is considered one of the most fashionable cities in the world. That's what a lot of people think. That's the impression most people have.
Exactly. When they hear Paris, a lot of people think of fashion. And also we talked about this word disrespect. In Korea, it is disrespectful to be late. So yes, if we're talking about disrespect, we're talking about not respecting or no respect for someone. Dis, as we often see at the beginning of the words, means the opposite or not or missing this thing. So respect is a good thing. When you show respect, you show people that you care about their feelings, that you want to make them feel comfortable, you don't want to do anything rude or improper around them. If you show them disrespect, that means you don't really care what people think of you. You don't really care about showing people respect or treating them well or making sure they're not unhappy or you're not hurting their feelings. So of course, most of us try to show respect and not disrespect to others. So we've learned that in Korea, at least, it's important to be punctual, and to be late is to show disrespect.
Right, and that can also be a verb. You disrespect someone.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so the article says in Korea, or that's what it means, it's best to be on time for all of your appointments.
Yeah? Okay, that's a good tip.
Yeah, don't show up late, you know. It could, even if it's just with a friend.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean just for work, for interviews, for class. It's disrespectful if you're late for a dinner or a cup of coffee with someone.
Okay.
So, but all of those, cup of coffee, that kind of thing, that's an appointment. An appointment is a scheduled event with somebody else, usually. You've arranged a time and a place and say, we'll meet you there, we'll maybe arrange what kind of thing we'll do, or talk about, maybe how long it will last. We often use this with a professional context. You have a doctor's appointment, you have a dentist's appointment,
right.
You have an appointment at the bank or something like that. So you schedule it, you find the right time, that is an appointment you go to.
All right, so in Korea, be on time. That's what we know so far. Let's move around to another part of Asia. Malaysia is the country we're looking at now. Right there it says 5 minutes equals 1 hour. Malaysia. Oh, okay, so maybe they're not quite so concerned about punctuality. It says in Malaysia, being late is considered normal and acceptable. In other words, it's not disrespectful. Right? So if something is normal, this adjective means it's usual, it's expected, it's something we've seen before, it's not a surprise or strange or weird or shocking. It's normal. For example, it is quite normal for this shopping mall to be busy on the weekend.
Yeah, of course.
This is what you would expect if you go there on a Saturday or Sunday.
Right, so being late is normal. You kind of expect people to be late.
Interesting.
And it's also acceptable, which means it's allowed. People accept it as being okay behavior. Maybe it's not great, maybe they don't approve of it, but no one's going to really complain about it. It's just, okay, yeah, sure, you're late, no worries, let's move on with things. So people can accept it. Accept, and then able kind of means can, so people can accept if someone is late.
Okay, so if you're a bit late in Malaysia, people won't think you are showing them disrespect. And it also goes on to say, it being late, it's not something you need to apologize for. Wow, so you don't even have to apologize or say sorry if you're late. You just roll in 30 minutes late and say, hey, everyone, and no one's going to kind of look at their watch, and you're not going to have to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I got stuck on the bus or something, because when you say sorry, when you apologize, you are trying to, sort of smooth over a mistake. That is what apologize means. It's a verb, it's to say sorry. So if you make a mistake, you say sorry about it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm really sorry. I'm apologizing to you. We could also talk talk about the noun form making an apology, right? So when you apologize, you are giving someone an apology. You are saying sorry. For example, Tyler didn't apologize when he bumped into the old man.
How rude.
That is showing some disrespect, yes.
Okay, and here's another fact about Malaysia. If someone says they'll be 5 minutes late, it usually means they'll be an hour late.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay.
All right, that's kind of okay over there
So
in Malaysia.
our little title there could have been 5 minutes equals 1 hour
Yes.
as well.
I'll be there in 5 minutes. You're like, okay,
You're
we're
like,
not going to see him all
I'll
day.
see you at 3 instead of 2, which is when we had our appointment. Okay, moving on to just slightly north of Malaysia, not too far from us, China. 10 minutes is okay in China. That's what it says. 10 minutes is okay. China. That's what we're talking about. When meeting people in China, you can arrive up to 10 minutes after the agreed time. Now, it's not like if you arrive 15 minutes late, the police will arrest you or something.
Wow.
But it kind of means that you don't need to apologize. You wouldn't be showing disrespect if you were up to 10 minutes late. This phrase up to, when we use it, especially when talking about numbers or values or something like that, we're kind of showing you the highest number, the maximum amount. For example, I could say the temperatures in Taiwan in the summer can go up to 40 degrees Celsius. 41 to 42, that would be pretty strange, but it's not too strange to get up to 40 on a very, very hot day. So that's sort of the top range.
Let's read on about China. So if you're up to 10 minutes late, the article says, it's unlikely that you would be accused of being late.
Okay.
And that seems a pretty fine rule. Like, you know, you can't sometimes cross the road just in time or something like that, or you need to wait for an elevator,
Sure.
find the right room,
Yeah.
you know, take a minute just to compose myself, calm down before a
Right,
meeting.
right.
So it's great. And if you do that, you won't be accused of being late.
Okay.
To accuse somebody of doing something, or in this case of being something, is to say that someone did something bad or is something bad, but without proof or without a great deal of proof, and with a final judgment to be delivered later. So if you say, hey, you stole my money, you are accusing them. But unless you have complete proof, we don't know if it's actually true or not. And for example, you could say to be accused of something is to be in the position, this is the passive one, where someone says, hey, you did a bad thing, you were late, I am accused of being late. All right, so in China, up to 10 minutes is fine. But let's now go to a place where that certainly would not be fine.
Ooh, okay. Next we read, 1 minute is not okay. Where are we talking about? Japan. Oh, yes, I've heard about this. In Japan, trains must run on time. That's right. Always on time. Exactly on time. Often down to the second.
Yes.
And not just the minute.
Yeah, and even if they leave a second early, they
Right.
still have to apologize.
Wow, that's
yeah.
crazy.
It
Okay.
is. It's got to be right on time. As the article says, if they, meaning trains, arrive even 1 minute behind schedule, they're considered late. So
60 seconds behind schedule.
2 seconds behind
2
schedule.
seconds behind schedule. That is quite amazing.
Right, so a schedule is a noun. This is a series of things to be done, or it's an events that are planned to occur at a particular time. If we say ahead of schedule, then people are finishing things early. If we say behind schedule, then the things are being finished late. If we say, oh, my project is behind schedule, it means you've got a lot of work to do to catch up. Just as a noun, we could say things like, Emma has a busy schedule today, so got up 30 minutes early. She's got a busy schedule, she has lots of things to do, many appointments, lots of jobs. She's planned it all out and she's getting up 30 minutes early to make sure she doesn't get behind schedule.
Impressive. I've actually heard that in Japan, everyone knows the trains are so punctual, they're so on time, that if you go to work and say, my train was late, your boss won't believe you.
Nope.
So if the train is actually late because of some problem on the train, they will give you a note to
Wow.
take to your boss So you can say, look, the train company says that they were late.
Wow.
That's how on time they are. If you use that as your excuse, no one will believe you. Now, earlier when we did the introduction, we were talking about English time. Now, English time is funny because it's a phrase that doesn't come from England or even an English-speaking country. It comes from Brazil. So English time in Brazil. Well, what does this mean? Well, we read on and it says, in Brazil, English time is the phrase used to stress punctuality. So they always think of English people as being on time. So if you're on time, you are on English time. This is a phrase Brazilians would use to talk about being on time and how important it might be. What is a phrase? A phrase is basically some kind of short sentence or even just a short group of words that we might say to, share information, to give someone an idea in a very simple way that they can understand. And often phrases that we use are used for many generations, so people always kind of understand what you mean by that expression or phrase. The interesting thing about them is if you're new to the language, the phrase might not make sense the way you're reading it with those exact words. You have to understand the culture and the language a little bit more often to really understand the phrase. Because if someone Brazilian said, hey, it's English time, I would think, well, I don't know what that means. For example, for the word phrase, I don't understand this Italian phrase. Could you explain it to me, Giovanni?
It means all roads lead to Rome.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
Okay, we've got another word to look at here, and that is the verb stress. So the verb to stress here isn't talking about, oh, I'm so stressed, I'm panicking, I'm under pressure. To stress something means to emphasize that thing. We could also say to lay stress on it, to draw attention to this thing to make sure that everybody listening knows that it's important. If the boss says, this project has to be finished on Friday, I want to stress this, the boss is saying, pay attention. This is important. Here's another example. Before she went to work, my mother stressed that she wouldn't be home for dinner. She's making sure we all knew it, that we would have to make our own dinner tonight. So yeah, if there's a company and they say, we're going to have a meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock English time. Okay. That means be on time, be punctual.
So that's how they would use that phrase.
But if they don't use it, then, well, it doesn't quite matter so much.
Yes, exactly. As the article says right before we finish, unless this phrase is used, English time, being on time is not so important. So as you said, it's sort of like saying, be on time. That's what you would write on your email or your message if it's important. Brazilian people would just write English time. And if that phrase is not used, then being on time is not so important. I've heard that for things in Brazil, you can often show up 2, 3, 4 hours late.
Wow.
People say if you go to an office for a meeting, bring a book. Because you might be waiting for quite a long time unless it is English time.
That is quite interesting. I would say that British people are usually quite punctual.
Yeah, it's quite important there.
Yeah, over in the UK, we like to be on time for things. We feel awkward. I mean, we feel awkward most of the time. That's what being British is about.
Okay.
But we feel very awkward if we're late for stuff. And we're going to talk about how we feel about being on time in our For You chat question. So let's go there right now.
For You chat.
So here's the question. You're invited to a party that starts at 3 p.m. What time will you likely show up and why?
Why does the party start at 3 p.m.?
It could be a garden party.
Okay. It's
barbecue, something like
it's
that.
It's a garden party. Okay, well, I say, a party, I would say punctuality is not quite as important as if it's for a business meeting or some kind of appointment, so you can be a little bit late. I think for a 3 p.m. garden party, I might be, as we saw earlier, fashionably late. You don't want to show up too early for the party because people might still be getting things ready. And if you show up at 3 p.m., you might be the first person there. So you'll kind of be standing around with no one to talk to. So I might try to be there 15, 20 minutes later.
Yeah, that seems
3:15, 3:20, something like that.
Yeah, that seems about right. I am super British in that I do feel awkward when I'm not there on time for stuff.
Oh, okay.
I do like to, and my wife will tell me off about this endlessly.
She wants to be a little fashionably late?
Well, she doesn't think it's quite as important as I do. You know, she doesn't think we need to leave home quite so early as
Why are we on time? No one else will be there on time.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, but I would maybe show up between 3:10 and 3:15. I would feel I was being rude if I was much later than that.
Okay, all right. So a little late, but maybe not fashionably late.
Not fashionable. I'm not fashionable in any way, especially not when it comes to being
I think the color of your shirt is very fashionable today.
Thanks. Yeah, yours too.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, well that's us. What about you guys? When would you show up to a 3 p.m. party? Have a chat about it, have a think about it, and join us again tomorrow for part 2 of this article, where we're going to look at the reasons why certain countries feel the way they do about punctuality. See you then. Bye for now.
Take care.
Vocabulary Review. Consider. Wearing a mask is considered an easy way to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Normal. On a normal day, I eat lunch at my desk between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. Apologize. Sally felt sorry for the mean things she'd said to Tommy, so she apologized to him. Schedule. This bad weather has forced many changes to flight schedules at the local airport. Phrase. I'm dead is a phrase used to say you're laughing really hard at something. Stress. This meeting is very important, so I must stress that you all show up on time.
智慧小补帖
Punctuality. Appointment. Accuse.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net